that Jesus said is true. Think about it. He said in John chapter 2, beginning with verse 18, before they killed him, he said, the Jews then responded to him, "What sign can you show us to prove your authority to do all this?" And Jesus answered them, "Destroy this temple, and I will raise it again in 3 days." He was talking about his body. In John 10:17, Jesus said, "The reason my Father loves me is that I lay down my life only to take it up again." This is all before he was killed. In Matthew 12:40, Jesus said, "For as Jonah was 3 days and nights in the belly of a huge fish, so the Son of Man will be 3 days and nights in the heart of the earth." In Matthew 16:21, from that time on, Jesus began to explain to his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things at the hands of the elders, the chief priests, and the teachers of the law, and that he must be killed, and on the third day be raised to life. Now listen, if a guy can repeatedly, publicly tell people that he's going to be killed, but then on the third day he's going to be come back to life, and then he does it, I mean, that's quite a litmus test for truth, wouldn't you say? And it wasn't just his followers who heard him say these things about being killed and raising himself to life. We know that because of what happened the day after the crucifixion. Matthew 27, starting with verse 62, the next day, the day after he was crucified, the one after preparation day, the chief priests and Pharisees went to Pilate. He's the Roman procurator who condemned Jesus to death at their demand. "Sir," they said, "we remember that while he was still alive, that deceiver," that's what they called Jesus, "that deceiver said, 'After 3 days I will rise again.' So give the order for the tomb to be made secure until the third day. Otherwise, his disciples may come and steal the body and tell the people that he has been raised from the dead. This last deception will be worse than the first." You see, even those who put him to death knew what Jesus had said, that on the third day he was going to rise. He was killed and put in the tomb on Friday. His dead body was in the tomb on Saturday, and he walked out of that tomb alive on Sunday. It's why Christians started meeting on the first day of the week instead of the traditional Jewish Sabbath, which is Saturday. Okay, we started on the first day of the week because that's the day of the empty tomb. That's and you know, the empty tomb. We have these first-hand accounts of people who saw Jesus and spent time with him after the resurrection. See, these are the things that separate Christianity from every other belief system in the world. You know, why can't Christianity be refuted? It's because it's true. The truth never has anything to hide. Anytime that you see a religion that tells you, no, you don't ask that. No, you don't question your leaders. No, you don't. You know, boy, run. Truth doesn't have anything to hide. God says to you and to me, ask whatever you want. Ask, seek, whatever you're looking for, look for it. Knock. He says, you ask, an answer is going to be given. You seek, you're going to find. You knock, the door is going to be open to you. He says, come to me. The truth doesn't have anything to hide. You know, not a single, this is astounding, not a single name or date or place or event in the entire Bible has ever been proven to be false. Now you think about that. Hundreds of thousands of archaeological finds in North Africa and the Middle East, and not a single name, date, place, or event anywhere from Genesis to Revelation has ever been proved to be false. And yet thousands upon thousands of the events and names and dates and places here have been confirmed by archaeological discoveries to be true. In fact, even the archaeologists in the Middle East who hate Christians use the Christian Bible as their primary source book for trying to figure out where to dig. Why? Because it's accurate. Because it's never been wrong. So much of the Bible, it is passed off as religion or a faith system. People, that's not what it is. It's history. It's the story of God and man. Jesus said of the Bible in Luke 16:17, "It is easier for heaven and earth to disappear than for the least stroke of a pen to drop out of the law." By the law, he was talking about Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. He also said in Matthew 10:35, "The scripture cannot be broken." There he was speaking of everything from Genesis to Malachi. So I want to just give you quickly 4 evidences for the resurrection. The first one is that all of creation points to a resurrection. Romans 1:20 says, "For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly seen." I mean, pause there for just a moment. God's invisible qualities, invisible, have been clearly seen. Clearly seen. Why? Being understood from what has been made, so that men are without excuse. No person can say, "Well, you know, I would have worshiped God if I'd have known there was one." God says, "Oh, no, no, no. My invisible qualities are clearly seen when you just look around me." Well, consider a seed. Just a simple seed. Scientists disagree about whether a seed is alive or dead. Now, I think that's kind of crazy. I mean, we could, decades ago, we sent somebody to the moon, right? We can get video and audio, pictures. I mean, they transmit from a piece of plastic around the globe. We can transplant a heart into a living human being, and they come out of it still alive. I mean, but we can't answer the question, is a seed alive? Some call it alive but dormant. Some call it not alive but viable. Others will openly confess that the scientific processes that constitute life are not present in a seed. You see, in truth, a seed is dead. There's no life in it. But simply stating it in those terms, it's dead, now that's going to move you into the miraculous, because it's dead and then it lives. And because scientists have never been able to create life from things that are dead, they don't like to say that. People often who deny God often say, "Well, show me a miracle." And I'll show you one. A seed. It's dead. You bury it. And something new springs to life. God says, "Listen, I'm evident in creation. What was dead is buried and comes to life, something new and very, very different from the seed." Does it remind you of anything? Now, don't misunderstand when I say that a scientist, they don't know how that happens. We know what happens to a seed. We know what we can do to facilitate a seed germinating and sprouting. But there's no explanation in science of how the dead came to life. It's dead, it's buried, it rises to new life. All of creation pointing to the cross, pointing to Jesus Christ. Consider a caterpillar. It weaves its own tomb. It literally buries itself and it dies. It's dead. It dissolves into chemicals. And then it rises to new life, something completely different and beautiful. Not a single scientist or textbook on earth can explain or replicate that process. We know what happens. We just don't know how. And God tells us that we also must die to self and be raised to new life. We have to be born again, the first time physically, the second time spiritually. A seed, a caterpillar, a Christian, raised to new life. Even the seasons, the move from spring, new life emerging, through the summer months as it grows, the fall, the autumn, the harvest, and then the winter where everything is dormant. It's that picture again of new life and growing and then dying and then coming to life again. We see it all around us, everywhere that we look. That's our first proof, is simply creation.